Okay, here it is. After weeks and weeks and weeks of waiting, I have finally got the dual CPU X99 motherboard. I completely forget what brand it is because it's been so long. But the thing that's interesting is that on AliExpress now, they're now offering these motherboards that basically use server CPUs in a desktop application, which is pretty wild. So here's the memory. I'll open that later. So here's the 2 sticks of memory. The back plate, some brackets for the CPU, screws, a SATA cable. Ooh. Alright. Oh man, this thing is massive. Now this is supposed to be an E-ATX motherboard, and what the problem is when it comes to stuff like this, it's, you know, extended ATX. Extended ATX is not actually like a standardized form factor. Like ATX, mini ATX, micro ATX, like things like that are standardized form factors. But when it comes to E-ATX, it's kind of a free-for-all. So I'm hoping some of these holes kind of line up in the case that I'm using. But oh man! So it has, you can stick I think 256 gigabytes of RAM in these things now. 2 PCI 16 slots, PCIe 1. It has 2 slots for NVMe drives. I heard something where one of these can only run in a PCI mode, PCI Express mode, not MNVE or whatever, but I'm not really going to bother with that. I'm just going to stick the one in. I think it's this one first and that one's the secondary or something, because I heard some people running into issues. So there are some hang-ups and things with this board. So there it is, dual Xeon, 2.4 gigahertz. I think these are 14 cores each or something like that. I can't remember, it's been so long. It looks like they already tested it. There's some thermal grease and stuff on there still. I'm not going to pull these out. These are already in here out of the box. So supposedly they test these out before they ship them out. So I'm just going to leave them in there and stick the heat sinks on them. But yeah, these processors, because they're server processors, Xeons, when they came out, I think these were like $1,400 each. And now, since servers aren't using them, I think they're like 12 or something like that. It's ridiculous. For the heat sinks, again, these are from AliExpress. I forget what the brand is, but if you can tell, I don't think branding is much of a concern for whatever company this is that's making this. What do we got here? Ooh, a little tiny spit wad worth of thermal grease. I'm not going to use that. Let's see. Yeah, I'm not doing any water cooling or anything on these, well, for now anyway. I just want to see if this thing even works. I think these CPU coolers, because I'm going to need 2 of them, these were like $11 each or something like that with free shipping, with 4 heat pipes, and whatever brand that is. It's like some type of owl or something. Someone said it looks like a Dr. Robotnik smiling. I can see that. But yeah, they might get the job done. I also made sure to get ones that have standing off of the CPU, because if you get some that are really close to the edge, I heard some people having problems with these because they're the CPUs right next to each other. The coolers can kind of have an issue, so I kind of made sure I got ones that are up and away from the board. So let's put these bad boys on. Oh yeah. Nice. The thermal paste police will be very mad at me no matter what I do applying the thermal paste, but I just put a little pea-sized drop, and I've built multiple computers over the past 20 years I've been building computers, and I've never had a problem with thermal paste not working in this application. And someone has posted a video with doing the X, doing the 5 dots, doing the butter toast method, and the differences are like 0.1 or 0.2 in variances. Not a big deal. This direction, I've seen people put them up and down, but I'm just going to go straight through. I've seen other people build them like that, so I don't think it's really going to be an issue. So, alright, let's get that down in there. Squish it around a little bit. Oh, I should take the plug out. That would be good. Yeah. Give it a little squish. That feels good. Also, I saw the mounts from the pictures, and I made sure I could get one that will screw right in and not have to deal with the brackets and all that other stuff, so should be good. You know what? Let me take this fan off. Make life a little easier. There we go. Hey, look at that. I can get to the screws now. Just give them a little snug till they bottom out. That too, finding parts and things for this, you're might not have as many options dealing with X99 because it is technically server stuff. And, you know, you're building this into a desktop board that takes server processors, so you won't have an amazing selection, I don't think, for certain things when it comes to CPU coolers. I know they make some water-cooled ones, but, you know, for this is fine for now. Now, you have to make sure, is there a little, do they even bother putting an arrow? Yeah, there's a little arrow right there. I don't know if you can see it or not, but we want that blowing that way, so we'll do that like this. Alright, that fan is pretty much held on with practically nothing. I mean, what do you want for $8? Alright, that's going to be going into the CPU socket. These are 4-pin fan headers because in the CPUs everything's voltage controlled and everything. Unfortunately, I heard that the case fan headers on the motherboard do not have voltage control, so they kind of spin up full blast when you turn them on. CPU 1 is done. On to CPU number 2. Alright. Nice. A little rubbing alcohol, get some of that residue off of there. I mean, I don't know if it really makes a difference, but I like to have everything nice and clean for the thermal paste. Don't want any glue or anything on there. Okay. Alright, gonna put the other fan in. Hopefully it's not that big of a pain in the ass trying to do it between the two coolers. We're gonna find out. Alright, clip number 1. Ugh. What a pain in the ass. Ah, there we go. Okay. That looks ridiculous. Well, no computer should have 2 of these things sticking out of it, and I love it. Alright. Plug that into the CPU fan header 2. This memory is DDR4, but it is ECC registered, which means it's basically server memory. And I heard that these particular motherboards are really picky about the type of memory that they use. So 2 sticks, basically these bank go to this CPU and this bank goes to this CPU, so like they don't really share, which is kind of a problem when it comes to gaming, because if certain things are on this memory that this CPU wants to do, it has to like do a lot of talking back and forth. So that all 4 memory stick, all 8 don't actually work in conjunction with each other. They're kind of like 2 computers on one board, basically sharing information. But I mean, it's good for rendering and everything. That's kind of what I want to build it for. But yeah, so this is tricky memory or something like that. You can't. It's not as cheap as regular DDR4 or even DDR3, which is really cheap now. So, all right, let's get to sticking this on the board. Now there are some things with this board, especially with the chipset module, which I think are recycled from other motherboards, because Microsoft hasn't released a chipset for this for years. So there's some things that are brand new, but there are also some things that are old, and especially like when it comes to this memory. I don't know if you can see this. Now this is what came with the kit, and it looks used because I can see some scratching and things. But what's also interesting, I've noticed on some of the sticks of RAM, it looks like the edge of it is shaved. You see how it's not straight, and it's thick here and it thins out here. It's like, were they shaving these down? Look, you see how that is? I mean, I hope it works. I think they tested it with this memory before they shipped it out, but that is really bizarre. That the edges of these things are not straight. Unless, you know what? Maybe I take that back. I take that back. Maybe that's a server, maybe that's a DDR3 thing. That's just really weird that it's kind of like tapered on the edges. I've never seen that before. I don't know. I never really worked with DDR4 memory or server memory or like this, so maybe that has something to do with it. That's kind of odd. Alright, I'm going to put in the M.2 drive. I'm going to be going with the theme, generic, no-named, I don't know, just cheapo, whatever, M.2. Gotta keep this cheap. Vansuny. 512 gigabytes for the OS. Yeah, so I'm looking really close, and there is a little thing here. It says SSD 1X. I think this is the one that's the PCI Express one. This one can run in NVMe mode. This one doesn't, I don't think, no matter what you do. So yeah, I think you should use this one first. I need a smaller screwdriver. Alright. Yeah, M.2 drives are so good. I love them. The first one I built was about, back in 2015, 2016. I was building a i7 machine, and my board had this slot, and it was a big deal back in the day. It was like, oh my god, this is the new greatest thing, and holy crap, is it fast. Probably even these cheap ones are ridiculously fast. I don't know. I mean, I'm not really doing crystal disk info mark or whatever it is. I'm like, does it boot up fast? Okay, I'm happy. I think this is the right slot. Please be in the right slot. If not, we'll be moving some crap around later. But there we go. It's not really sitting too flat. I guess, I don't know, is there... That's weird. I don't know, is there like a little bushing or washer or something? No, not really. It's just the way it fits. I mean, it's alright, I guess. Also, since this was coming from China, no battery, so again, an amazing, no-name, high-quality Chinese battery for the no-name, high-quality Chinese motherboard. Nothing but the best. Pop that bad boy in, like so. There we go. Alright, I think it's time for this to go in the case. Okay, this is an Antec case that I just bought in December. I had already built like a 4th gen i7 PC in this case for Christmas, and then I started getting this hang up with the dual CPU X99 board, and I'm like, alright, kind of want to build another PC even though it's been only 3 months. So I took out all the guts out of the PC I just built. I'm going to swap those around and put those into my digital audio workstation. I'm going to kind of be doing musical chairs here with computer cases. But coincidentally, the case that I bought in December actually holds extended ATX boards, which I wasn't even looking for. I just wanted a cheap case, and I think this is like $70 on Amazon. And it just coincidentally holds E-ATX boards and is not the size of a house, because a lot of those, they're huge and it won't fit in my desk. So this is like a mid-size case that holds one of those boards, and it's kind of like a unicorn because there's not a lot of cases like this that are small, kind of a medium-sized case that can hold that. So the only thing I'm hoping, I'm not going to lose my Blu-ray drive, because this bracket comes out, because if the case extends further, I'm going to see, but it's not looking good. I might be losing my Blu-ray drive, but I have an external one, so it's not the end of the world. I just like to have it in the computer. I'm a nut with physical media, and all right. I didn't move any of the standoffs or anything. I just want to see if it will clear the disk drive, and absolutely not. What was I thinking? Of course not. All right. Goodbye, Blu-ray drive. I took out the disk drive. Now this should fit. Oh, I also take out the I/O shield. Yeah, I'm doing that. Please don't cut me. A little razor blade, faceplate. Alright. This thing is just... The I/O on the back of this is just a load of USB ports. No onboard video. Okay, now I'm just gonna drop it in. Oh my god, it's so heavy. And try to figure out what standoffs go where. Alright. Here we go. That one's going to go down here. Okay, so that's good, that's good. That one's good. Yeah, definitely going to need more standoffs. Alright, for sanity check, they should be the same. Yeah. Yeah, the thread's a little long, but the standoff is the same. Alright, I think we're good. Yeah, I can't remember if this Intech case had extra standoff screws. It's just, I think the ones that were there were kind of already in the case, and the board that I put in was fine. Any more standoffs in here? No. Any standoffs in here? You gotta be kidding me. How do I not have any motherboard standoffs? I used to have, like, they're usually everywhere. Oh, no, that one doesn't look right. Okay, so after fiddling with finding 3 more or 4 more standoff screws, I got them all in the case. And what's interesting is this board just has some holes that are not on the case. So, like, especially the holes on this side are just going to be just hanging out, and this one over here too. They're just going to be hanging out in the open, and there's no standoff hole for any of these holes. So basically on this side of the board I got this one, these two, this one, and that one, and then all here is just kind of hanging. That's it. Yeah, as I mentioned, there's no real E-ATX standard, so it's kind of a free-for-all. Alright, let's drop it in. Okay, all those holes should sort of line up, I hope. Yes, they do. At least the ones that are in the case. You know what? Before I put this in fully, I want to see if the cabling will fit where I need it to go for the power supply. Because there might have to do some trickery where you put the cables through and then put the board in. Let me just double check on that real quick. We look good. There doesn't seem to be any clearance problems with the cables. So there's little holes for the cables that go through the case, so I think we're good. One of the standoffs that I found in the bag of useless things is not the same thread. That's gonna be fun. It was probably from an older case. It was the right height, but apparently the thread type is different. And now I can't get the screw out. Nice. Alright, the case is in. All the case screws are in with the holes that are on the board that line up with the case. There's about 1, 2, 3, 4 holes that do not have standoffs because the case just doesn't have it. Alright, I can turn this up on its side and we can start hooking up the the front USB and the fans and the case fans and all that good stuff. Alright, we're going to hook up the USB 3 header. There we go. Now the HD audio jack is all the way over here, which is kind of annoying. Maybe I got it. Maybe I got this. Hold on. Give me a sec. If I go like this, I can fish the audio cable all the way over here. Oh yeah, and I have to put this. This is the case fan. That's the only thing that sucks with this. Well, I mean, there's probably a lot of things that suck with this board, but there's only 2 fan headers, so I'm gonna have to split one of these or something. I'm gonna have to get a fan controller because I've heard that these this motherboard doesn't have any fan control. Basically, when you turn it on, these case fans are just going to be on full blast, which is not going to be fun. So I think I'm going to have a fan controller in my future. Okay, that looks somewhat whatever. Alright, I'm going to have to turn the camera off and get up close and personal with these pins because I can't see from here. Alright, I think it is time to put the power supply in. I'm going with this Ars game? I have no idea. 80 plus bronze. What is this? Forget. It is a 750 watt power supply, which I think should be more than enough with the video card and everything. The reason I got this one also is because this is a dual CPU board. You're going to need two 4+4 CPU power cables, and I mean, I've heard someone say that you don't need to have both of those plugged into the board, but I don't want to risk it. So I had some other power supplies laying around, but unfortunately I didn't have anything that had the 4+4 with doubles. So there should be, hopefully there should be, in this power supply. Let's see. Yeah, there we go. I think this was like 60 bucks or 70 bucks on Amazon. So this did not come from AliExpress, because I don't want to. That's one thing I don't really want to risk. I mean, even though this is a no-name brand, at least from Amazon, I feel a little bit more comfortable. So okay, we got the ATX power supply cable, and here we go. Okay, so we got the CPU, and then the other CPU. I mean, it looks like I could have split one of these on another power supply, but I don't want to push them because who knows, the rails, I don't know, I didn't want to risk it. I know that this one has to. Also, if you notice, these do not go very far, and the two ports are on like the opposite ends of the board, so I also had to buy cable extensions, and I'll show those in a minute. So, actually, you know what? I think I should put the cable extensions in and get those in. Those are the sleeved fancy ones. I've never used those before. I mean, I guess they're for more high-end build things where people have really fancy cable management, but half the computers I built don't have any windows in them anyway, so you don't see anything, so it doesn't have to be neat and clean, but I'll be using those. Let's actually put those in. Yes, another excellent brand, Asiahorse. Okay. I got these. These also came off of Amazon, because I had already ordered everything from AliExpress, and I just realized, I'm like, crap, those cables are not going to reach, and I can't wait another month for cable extensions, so I'm going to have to get those from Amazon. So here they are. Here's a little guide clips. See, that's how it's supposed to look, all nice and fancy like that. And these things are pretty heavy. Here. And then this also is a kit that is supposed to have two CPU sleeved cables in it. So we got the ATX cable there. This is the PCI Express, because it's actually 3 plus 2. So if you have a 6-pin or an 8-pin, the thing is though, these 8 pins look very similar to the 4+4 pin for the CPU, and you'd be really tempted just to take, oh well, I got a cable for a modular power supply that goes into the for the PCI Express. I can just use that PCI Express cable for the 4+4. You cannot do that. The way these things are wired, you will fry the board, you will fry the video card, you will kill it. You need to use the CPU 4+4 cables for the motherboard and the PCI Express 6+2 cables just for video cards. These are not interchangeable. So see right here, this is the 4+4 right there. So you got 4, if the board's for 4-pin, and you can go to 8-pin. These only go for the CPU. Holy crap. Not only did I need to... I bought this cable extension kit so I could plug in the two 8-pin CPU, this one here and this one over here. And it didn't dawn on me that I actually needed to use the ATX power extension cable too, because the location of this thing is so weird. It's all the way at the top that the ATX power supply thing wouldn't fit. Normally it's on this side of the board, so these holes here you kind of just snake it in. Since the power connector is all the way up here, there really wasn't anywhere for that to reach, so I actually did need to use this. So I'm going to use all the extension cables on this. So if you ever do one of these boards, I highly suggest getting a cable extension kit, because yeah, I'm running into some weird things. PCI Express connectors. Also a good thing if you ever you know, keep the bag with these unused cables and just make a note of which ones these come with. I mean, you really shouldn't swap out modular power supply cables with different power supplies, just in case they do something wonky, even though the connectors are the same. Just keep those with the power supply and just make a little note of that. So, alright, so we got PCI Express. I think that's the only thing I need. I got two SATA connectors for drives, and I think we're good. So we just need just this one, I think. I actually found I did a little Facebook Marketplace swap and got a video card pretty cheap. So, okay, we're good. We're good. Wait. Oh. Wait a second. Am I plugging this in backwards? Yeah. Wrong end, idiot. All right. Here we go. There we go. Whoop! Don't drop the thing. Okay. There we go. Now I can put this in the computer. I should clean out the dust from the 3 months that I used this case, but I'm not. I'll do that later, I guess. Right. In you go. Okay. Put it in the power supply. I don't know what it is. It's just, there's something very therapeutic about building a computer. I don't know. I just really love doing it. Like, even just sometimes if I just want to clean my computer or take it apart, and I'm just taking it apart and then rebuilding it again. It's just, there's something about it. Just building a computer is really fun. I mean, I remember when I first started building computers, that was back in the late 90s, early 2000s, and it was such a stressful thing because I didn't know anything really. I knew I had an IBM Aptiva, and I upgraded it myself. I put 128 megabytes of RAM in it, and I was like, ooh, and I put a video card in it myself, and I was like, that kind of got me hooked on you know, building computers. Then I finally built my first one from scratch, and it was so cool because you could build it exactly the way you want it. And yeah, it's just, there's something about it. I really like it. Alright, going to be putting the video card in. I had one of these. This is a EVGA GeForce GTX 980. I had one of these that died, and I missed it. I really missed this card. I mean, it's not like the latest and greatest thing, but for the price, it's such a great value. You know, my other one died, and I found this one on Facebook Marketplace, the same one, and I actually found a PC in the garbage, and I fixed it, got it running, installed Windows on it, cleaned it up a little bit. I sold the garbage PC on Facebook Marketplace, and then took the money from the garbage PC to buy this video card. So I literally got this video card from stuff I found in the garbage. So it cost me literally nothing, and I finally got my GTX 980 back. And it was such a fun card. So yeah, and I'm not doing any hardcore gaming on this machine. This is more for rendering and maybe virtual synthesizers and things like that, and video and maybe some 3D modeling. So I think this will be fine. So one thing I don't like about this case, it's got this like hokey thing with this PCI Express support bar thing, and I think it's more for if you want to mount, I mean with these newer computers now you can mount the video card this way, so this opening is really big. I think that's what that's for, but it's just, you know, when you just want to screw something into the bracket and be done with it, and you can't because there's a special lockdown bar or some crap that goes with it, it's just annoying. And yeah, see, like the holes kind of fit around it. It's just, I don't know. That is it. The video card's mounted, power is plugged in, extension cables are plugged in, CPUs are plugged in, USB 3.0 card is powered, plugged in, RAM is installed, battery is installed, M.2 drive is installed. I think that's it. Yeah, I've never used cable extensions before, but oh my god, it makes things so much nicer. It just, everything kind of just bends and fits where it needs to go. I'm really glad I bought those before I even started this, because I knew right off the bat the way this board is, and it's huge, and the plugs are in not the normal spots, and it just makes everything nice and clean. It's like, ooh, nice and clean, and don't look at this mess back here. That's just gonna get covered, and just kind of just hide that. And but look at this side though. This side looks great. I'm gonna leave it like that. Look at that. Ooh, it's not so bad. All right, this is the first power on. Let's see what happens. Nothing. Oh. Oh, what is it doing? It's power cycling. Oh. Oh, now it stayed on that time. Okay, that was a little scary. Unless it had to like figure some things out, maybe. I don't know. I don't see anything. I don't hear any beeps. There is a little number thing down there. It says 67, and that's it. Well, I'm gonna wait for a second, let it do its thing. I don't hear any beeps, unless me. Oh wait, I need an external speaker. There's no speaker on the board. Alright. Let me just... Still saying 67? Yeah. I mean, the fans are going, everything's going. I'm just going to let it sit. I'm going to let it sit for a bit. Maybe it's figuring things out. Maybe the memory's not in the right slot. Oh, made some beeps. And shut off. Nope. Now turned on. So there is a PC speaker in this thing. '92 AE. Alright, let's figure this out. AE. Oh, there it is. I don't know. I must have missed it. I was looking at the other monitor or something. I don't know. It did a couple of beeps, and I was thinking, well, maybe it was the USB that 3.0 card that I put in. So I just pulled that out and I played back the video. It was there. I don't know. I think I was looking at the other monitor. But look, it posts. Excellent. We are doing pretty good. And the fans aren't as loud as I thought they would be without the controller. They're pretty quiet, so maybe I won't need a fan controller, but awesome. We got the post. So let's install Windows and see how it goes. I was getting ahead of myself before installing Windows. I'm gonna poke around the BIOS here, make sure everything looks good. Processor configuration. What do we got here? Nice. Socket 1, 2.4 gigs. 2.4 gigs. Cache. Xeon 2680 V4. Xeon 2680 V4. Look at that. 2 CPUs. This BIOS kinda is shitty. Like, I can't even, it won't even show like the memory. And there's only like 2 boot options. Maybe if I stick the USB key in, it will see it. Okay, save changes and exit. Alright, I'm going to plug the USB key in and see what that does. Alright, I'm going to spare you the whole Windows 10 installation. I don't think you need to watch me install Windows 10. But anyway, it is actually the next night. I went in and installed everything. I installed all my applications that I use and everything. And yeah, here we go. Here is all the CPU cores. 28 CPU cores. 56 logical processors running at 2.4 gigahertz, and this clock speed also boosts up to about 3 gigs, a little over 3 gigs sometimes. So yeah, it's quick. It is really fast, and I was surprised. A lot of applications utilize all the cores, especially certain games like BeamNG, which is a very CPU hungry game because it has to do a lot of calculations and physics and all sorts of things, smashing cars and stuff. And I love that game, and I've played that on my Intel i7-4790K, which is a 4-core, with 8 threads, 8 logical processors or whatever, and that's running at 4 gigs, and it's okay. In this, even though it's 2.4 gigs, which kind of sounds kind of slow, but when you have that across 28 cores, it is insanely fast, and to the point where multitasking is just absolutely insane. You could be rendering a video while you're watching a video and playing a game at the same time, and the CPU is maybe at like 20%. It's not even, it's so hard to push this CPU anywhere even to 50%, because all these cores, everything, the load is just spread all across real evenly on these cores, and it works. It really works. Now, I'm not like a crazy hardcore gamer as far as like latest and greatest games, but I've heard that using something with a dual CPU system isn't the most fastest thing you can do, because it's sharing resources between different memory banks and all sorts of stuff. But so far, what I've done, I am really, really impressed, and it's insanely fast compared to the fastest thing that I have, which is the Intel i7-4790K, which is now ancient compared to what else is out there. But yeah, this is absolutely incredible. I can't get over it. Actually, as I'm recording this, I am working on the video. This is the video that you're watching right now. I am working on this on the dual CPU computer, which is one of the reasons I wanted to try to build something like this, because originally every video that I made, everything that I rendered from VR chat to going to conventions, was being rendered on a first gen i7-920 running at 2.4 gigs, and I had that computer since 2009, and so I rendered a video, just a test video, to see what the original machine. The 8-minute video took 40 minutes to render. Then during Christmas, I built another i7 4th gen PC out of spare parts, which was to replace the original i7 that I had. and that machine rendered the 8-minute video in 15 minutes. And I was like blown away by this. I was like, wow, this is really, really great. So now with this dual CPU system with all of its cores, I ran that same video again. I rendered it, and it rendered the 8-minute video in 8 minutes. It's basically just playing the video. I don't know if there's any way to make it go any faster where you can actually render it faster than you can watch it. I mean, that's probably a possibility, but oh my god, I've never had a chance where I could render high bitrate 1080p video, do all these edits, and then render it out essentially a one-to-one speed. So with this video here, I mean, we're looking at maybe 50 to maybe an hour. This is going to be a long video. It's going to be about an hour video. It's going to take about an hour to render it, and that would have been all night. If with my original machine, I would have just had to set that thing on and go to sleep, and maybe in the morning when I wake up, that video would be rendered. So just to have this is incredible. Now, one thing with this motherboard, because it's from China, it's no name brand, there are no instructions, there's no drivers, there's no support whatsoever. You're really on your own when it comes to dealing with one of these motherboards. So I was kind of worried about like chipset drivers and all sorts of stuff, but thankfully everything in the device manager, all the drivers for this were provided through Windows updates. Now, when I initially installed Windows 10 and everything seemed to be running fine, and I went over to Device Manager to check out what's going on, there was a sea of yellow check marks saying, hey, there's stuff not installed and blah, 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 blah. And especially when it came to the processors. Now, every single one of these is listed as a device here, and all of these were showing up as yellow and having issues. And I was like, oh no, this is really bad. But it turns out I just kept running Windows Update for about an hour, doing all these updates and installing every single optional update that was available for the machine, because it's doing a scan and saying, okay, you need all these drivers. And through all the Windows updates and the Windows optional updates, every single driver was here and I had no issues, which is shocking. So yeah, I was really blown away. I'm like, it works. Now on boot up, it's a little slow. It feels like you're kind of starting a server. The motherboard isn't as streamlined as a regular mainstream desktop PC would be, and the BIOS is kind of crummy. I'm not really a fan of it, but it takes a little bit to start up, and it does a lot of checks and things. So it's like it does have some server vibes to it because of, I guess, the architecture of it. But once it's running, it's amazing, absolutely amazing. Now, longevity, who knows, because this is a fresh Windows install. I might run into issues a week, a month, a year from now. I have no idea. So I also am not really relying too heavy on this. I'm always going to keep the motherboard, that everything I built in December, I'm going to kind of shelve that for a while and just kind of hold on to it just in case this doesn't pan out. And yeah, it's all right. And for what it cost, it was a fun experiment to do, because I already had the case. I had some parts and things. The motherboard and the RAM from AliExpress was $200. The CPU coolers, I think both of them came to less than $20. The M.2 drive came to $50. The cable power extension cables came to about $30, and the power supply was about $60. So you're looking at roughly like maybe $325, $310. I mean, that's still a chunk of change, for something that's not really a new computer. Technically, it's a weird computer, but for that price, it's pretty interesting. I mean, and especially for under $400 and having a 28-core machine with 56 logical processors is insane. So yeah, it was a really cool, fun build, and a very different build for me. So I I hope you like this video, and maybe I'll do some more things like this later on. This is something different, so if you stuck through the whole thing, thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.